Welcome everyone here to this episode of the Search Bar. Really excited for today. As always, I like to ask if your marketing has gone bitter or sour. So just sit back and enjoy top shelf strategies from the Search Bar, where we're serving up insights for your digital marketing to work successfully. I am your host, Eric Ritter, SEO Sommelier and CEO of Digital Neighbor, a friendly neighborhood marketing SEO company based in Tampa, Florida. For today's episode, I'm joined by Hoyt Mann, co-founder and president of McKinney, Texas-based alanna.ai, to discuss the AI revolution we are currently experiencing and what is next for AI in the future. I'm really excited here. So Hoyt, welcome, and thanks for joining us here.
Man, thanks, Eric. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and join you today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited to talk about AI, right? And Alanna in particular. So I think maybe for our listeners and for everyone watching at home, might be a good place to start if we can just talk about AI. What is it and how does Alanna play into that? Maybe starting at a high level there.
Yeah, that's where I like to start the conversation is at the highest level. And when we talk about what is AI, because there's just so much buzz in the marketplace. Everybody's talking about AI. You got to get AI. Your business is going to benefit by AI. And it's like, okay, everybody's kind of running around super excited. And they're like, I got to get AI. Let's go. But then we get to a point where you say, what is AI? What are we really talking about here? And so I like to, again, back it up a little bit, talk a little bit about, okay, look, AI in a really easy way to think about AI is this concept of an army of interns. And so when we start talking about interns, people are like, oh, I start to kind of get an idea of that. But I also like to split up into buckets of what AI is, because artificial intelligence at a very high level is great. It's some fantastic technology, and hopefully everybody at this point has been able to experience AI in one way or another, whether it be Chat GPT or in Bing or something like that. But again, I always like to say, look, AI is a huge topic. It's a huge area. And again, coming back to a point of there's all these buckets of what is AI and how can AI fit your business? And so I like to split the buckets up into buckets like conversational AI or deep learning AI or back office type AI. So things like that. And that helps really frame the conversation.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Now I want to start off there because it's such a broad topic. We've all heard about it. It's not just an evolution, it's a revolution of everything, right? And so I really appreciate the analogy there. It's an army of interns, right, that helps you there. So I think that really makes it, visualizes it and makes it much clearer there. So how does Alanna fit into this AI revolution?
Yeah, so where Alanna comes in, and as I was talking about different buckets, this conversational AI bucket is where Alanna fits best. And what the concept of conversational AI is an AI that really is, in essence, an automated conversation. So we can think about these conversations that we've all experienced before, whether using Alexa or Siri. These are very, very well-known and common applications of conversational AI. AI is very good at predicting this next word as far as in a conversation goes. What's the next thought? What's the next topic? So with Alanna, what we did was we said, hey, look, how do we take AI and apply it to customer service from a conversational perspective? How do we alleviate people's time by taking a conversation out of an email or out of a phone call and being able to just simply with SMS text be able to have a conversation with in essence with somebody on the other end that has access to answers. And that's where I think AI starts getting really exciting.
Got it. Okay, so if I understood correctly, Alanna is kind of like Siri or Alexa, but won't always be like Siri, say, hey, I sent the answer to your iPhone, please check your iPhone, but it'll actually be able to answer some questions that I have and help with customer service.
Absolutely. And so as we kind of pare it down a little bit more, it's customer service specifically geared for title companies. So we're in the real estate business, and Alanna is specifically situated to be placed in a title company to do things that a normal customer service agent would do in a title company. And so when we think about customer service, think about things that an escrow officer might do at a title company or a receptionist might do at a title company. Alanna is geared to give that kind of service and that kind of experience to anybody that's coming and asking questions of their escrow officer or of just their local title company. Everything from a common what is title to what's the status of my file and some very specific questions. And where Alanna really glows, if you will, is this concept that it's not just going to have this very static and in a very sterile type conversation in a very predictive way. It's very open to understanding what somebody's asking and then going and getting those answers. And that to me is the most exciting part, is this concept of reaching and getting answers and really having given a satisfying experience other than a frustrating experience. Because all through the decades, AI has been developing, and it's really, we look at it like, oh, well, AI has been the hottest topic here in the past couple of years. But you know what? AI has been around for 50 years. And it's been developing over 50 years. And to me, it's super exciting to now get to a point where it's usable in business as well as on our personal life.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as far as Alanna goes and kind of the current AI model that you guys are deploying, what really differentiates you from other AI programs that are out there?
Yeah, and what makes us different is right now it's this conversational AI. There's in business and in business applications as a whole, there's a concept of we need to communicate. We always need to communicate. But the concept of communication, in my mind, when I define communication, it's really kind of this two-way conversation. I'm not only going to notify somebody about something, but if somebody responds with a question or additional information, I want to be able to receive that and then let that person know that that information has been received and is going to the right person, and really, closing that conversational loop. A lot of business applications today, whether it be a doctor's appointment that you get on your reminder that you get on your phone, or, all these other different ways that you get notified about things, a lot of times it's a one-way communication channel. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is so kind of 80s or 90s to be able to just broadcast this type of information out to a customer base. But like I said, it's super exciting now. We're getting into an age where technology is smart enough to handle a conversation in a way to where it gets again to that understanding of what's being asked, and ultimately maybe even being able to solve what's being asked. And that at the end of the day, from all of our businesses, that's true savings. That's true operational efficiency. When you don't have a human having to jump in and do these things, in an AI, virtual assistant can be handling 10x, 20x the conversations that your current staff is either staffed to handle or can physically handle.
I love that. Yeah. And kind of that two-way communication, the conversation, I think is really key there. And so one thing I was curious about, we all heard about ChatGPT and maybe Google's Bard and the training aspect of it and kind of teaching it, kind of intent behind questions, or kind of, how maybe even, I'm sure you can't teach it feelings, but it can help it understand how people are asking the questions, how they feel, right? And sure. I know ChatGPT got in trouble, because it's using all these, different pieces of content to kind of train the system. So I'm curious with Alanna, what does it take to teach and kind of to train her in order to be the best possible customer service conversation application out there?
Yeah, I tell you what, being a virtual assistant, I don't care if you're a human virtual assistant or an AI virtual assistant, it takes training. And it's not day one training and you're done. It's a continuous amount of training. And so I always talk about Alanna back in when we kicked off in 2019, when we kicked it off, Alanna.
You guys were way ahead of the curve, right? Because ChatGPT didn't roll out like a little bit over a year ago.
Right.
how are you guys such so far on the bleeding edge? That's so impressive, Hoyt.
Well, thinking about customer service, we've had I started up, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been in the software industry now coming to over 30 years. And so being a software engineer from the mainframe programming days all the way through the beginning of the internet. That's one of the picture behind me here is that's a logo of Pepsi.com. I helped launch their website
Nice.
back in the mid 90s. That was before anybody had websites.
Yeah.
And so, you
So
know,
there's true novelty back then. Yeah,
exactly. To have an interactive website on top of that,
yeah.
had video games, and we had a lot of fun building that product for Pepsi. But that was just coming through this customer service. Customer service has been the same. It feels like for 100 years. It's the same scenario of being able to be there when your customers need you, give the answers when they're asking for them. So again, back to me being a serial entrepreneur, the business that we started before the Alanna business was a customer service and support software business. So we have a lot of experience in that, not just from our own being involved in businesses, but also starting a company that did customer service and support software. So interacting with customer service organizations all around the world, you become you have to be somewhat of an expert in that field. And so as we continue to build that platform and create products around emails, to be able to take emails as customer service, phone calls, and things like that, you really start to see there's a limit to the amount of tickets a person can handle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a limit to the amount of phone calls a person can handle. And when you're challenged with that kind of a problem, you say, okay, how do you get more? How do you scale a company? How do you handle more of those conversations? And really, AI started coming on the scene in that 2018 timeframe. IBM was really starting to crank up their IBM Watson program, and
Right.
so we saw an application for customer service and AI conversational virtual assistants. So we jumped on, did some test cases around customer virtual assistants for customer service. And we said, you know what, this has a great application for a niche market like the title industry. And so we said, let's go ahead and roll forward with that. So you start by training it with the conversations like you and I are having right now. It's what are the most common questions that are being asked? And then you start building it. And so Alanna had this baby brain, so to speak. So we just started teaching it just like you would a baby. You keep teaching it words and teaching it being able to tie together thoughts. And the training component is you start with that dialogue, if you will. And there's quite a few of those dialogues that you put together. But it's the ongoing training that to me is just will blow your mind when you start dealing with AI and the back office side of things, to watch where when Alanna gets it wrong and we tell her, look, you got this wrong, this is the way you should have answered it, she gets it right 10 times, 10 times out of the next 10, so to speak. It's just phenomenal. You go, wow, this is fantastic.
Fast learner.
Super fast learner. Once you start tying together these concepts, and again, after we've trained it year after year after year, she's went from this baby brain to a toddler brain, and now I really feel like she's like second or third grader. The conversations that she gets wrong now are much more advanced. The more types of conversations she can handle is much wider, and it's fantastic. But it comes back to you have AI is just not applied to every company the same AI, and that to me is like maybe a misconception that you can just like sprinkle some AI into your company and then magically things are going to happen. And it really has to be tailored and created, and you have to be using a very purposeful application to solve a problem in your business. And where companies like an Alanna or other companies would focus in on this problem area and develop very specific use case and pieces of software for that actual business. So Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been talking a lot about, and there at the end as well, Hoyt, is, specific use cases, specific businesses. I know you guys focus on the title industry. Is that the reason why you guys are so focused in that and kind of going down that path, because it's something that can't easily be applied to another niche, or what's the reason that that's kind of where you guys are locked in on right now?
To me, technology needs to be functional. It needs to really have like a depth of functionality that benefits the business. And if you use a broad brushstroke, you become this generic solution. And to me, that's not where a lot of power can, or basically a lot of value can be received from a company. And so in the title industry in and of itself, to me, the integration that exists in the to kind of take a full solution from a start to finish type solution. If you were to say, Hoyt, I want to give you some information, and then this information is going to show up in a system somewhere behind this in the back office. There's a lot of steps to that process. You're filling out a form. That information goes to somebody who maybe does some data entry. Then somebody else might do some quality assurance check and make sure the data entry was correct. And then ultimately gets into a file, some back office system. And you might get lucky enough to have a portal that might give you access to this document, and all requiring that you remember a password and you remember the URL, and and remember the steps to get to where you need to be. All these are use cases that can be solved, again, like we have with AI, to where you can text in a question, it acts like a human on the other end, and it has access. I think that's the key point here, an integration to the back office systems that have this information. So you can think about it very simply, like, if we were to build an integration to QuickBooks and you wanted to ask about your bill, it's only going to be so useful if it only gets to a point to where it says, thanks, I'll pass it to somebody who has access to QuickBooks, and they'll get back to you with the answer to your bill.
Right.
That's, to me, kind of a half solution, and could be very frustrating from a customer service perspective. But if you text in and that virtual assistant says, how can I help you? And say, I need a copy of my invoice. And you don't identify yourself as who you are, what company you're from, or anything like that. And it says, oh, Eric, I know who you are. I know what company you're from. And by the way, here's your invoice that's outstanding, without another question. I mean, to me, that's an intelligent conversation. That's a valuable, customer experience that you just had, that you didn't have to say, hey, this is Eric, because I know who you are, because you just texted me off your phone. And I know where your information is, because I have access to the phone number that links to your company in QuickBooks in the back office, and I can get that information, give that back to you. And this could be 8:00 on a Saturday night where nobody, for the most part, is around. So to me, these are the scenarios that make the most sense from a holistic solution, and not just hey, let me give you some glitz and glimmer and say, oh, now you have AI in your business. So, yeah.
No, that's all fantastic information, Hoyt, and you're obviously, your stuff, it sounds like, and just curious, I wanted to kind of come back to you a little bit here as well about your background kind of in software. You kind of, you mentioned the poster behind you there kind of with Pepsi, but what other types of companies helped launch in the past, and maybe a little bit kind of your personal journey that led up to where you are now?
Man, yeah, like I said, as you start walking up the line there, it's like when the internet was coming about was when I was really starting to kind of gain my stride in software engineering, and working with different companies that have been on the bleeding edge of technology. And so, there's leading and bleeding edge. You can only stay in that bleeding edge for so long before you kind of get burned. And so coming through the .com explosion, if you will, the bubble bursting in 2000, I came to work with a company here in the McKinney area, in the title and escrow world. There are title production systems, and one of the major title production systems that are out today are ones like SoftPro and RamQuest and Qualia are a number of these different production systems. Well, the co-founder that lived in McKinney I started working with in 2000, he'd actually founded RamQuest, which is one of the key title production systems. And so working with him all through the RamQuest years and all the things that transpired, and then ultimately going back into the customer service software industry, all of those experiences led to this company where you start to use customer service and then also tying back to a production system. Again, those integrations in the language, in the conversations that somebody has with the title company. So a real estate agent has a very specific way that they interact with the title company. We felt like using our experience and our background in title, we could actually put together a solution that is not just, hey, we're showing up on the scene, we're some smart guys and we know software, and let's apply some technology to this communication challenge that currently exists in the software and real estate industry. So I think that matters most when you're applying technology and software together. You need to know your subject matter area, and leveraging the experience over the past 25 years has been key to, I think, the success that Alanna has had.
No, fantastic. And thank you for sharing that, Hoyt. I want to make sure we get to the Barrels of Wisdom here segment of the podcast. But before we do, just want to make sure, to wrap up everything about alanna.ai and your personal journey, if there's maybe anything else or any aspects of the technology that maybe you're very proud of and you wanted to share before we move on here.
Well, I think right now we're one of the only AI-powered virtual assistants in the title industry. And as we're standing in 2024 right now, I think it shows, one, how unique and special this product is, and two, it's just not something you wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to build a conversational AI integrated solution for title and escrow, and be able to roll out and have something that you can go to market with that's, I think, of a significant value. So again, standing here, working on our 5th year, I think it just shows that, one, we're kind of pioneers in this space for an industry that is really laden with manual processes and paper. So I'm really proud of what we've accomplished and the growth we've had, even with the real estate market being as challenging as it's been in the past 18 months.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that. Definitely kudos from my side. That's no small feat there. As you mentioned, there's always macro, micro environmental factors out there. And it seems like, you guys have such a great product that you're able to kind of weather the storm that's potentially kind of happening outside of your door there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one last thing I would put as an asterisk is, there's a customer base that is in the title industry. That is one that is, most people say, if you ever get into title, you can't ever get out. And you kind of scratch your head and say, well, why is that? Why can you never get out of title? One, it's a very specific and unique skills, set of skills that people have to develop. And it's not like there's a college for title and escrow, and there's not a degree for title and escrow. You really have to kind of get into it and understand it. But back to my original point, which is this customer base is one of, it's a family-oriented, it feels like a family-oriented industry. And as a whole, you go to a conference and it's like a family reunion more than it is like a sales and marketing type conference. And so that industry, these people just make it to where it's just such a great place to come to, and a warm customer base to interact with. And I love the people. I love the business, and wouldn't want to be doing anything different.
That's awesome. Well, you're putting a smile on my face here. I mean, definitely. Don't know if I maybe picked the wrong industry here, but I'm very jealous. It seems like you guys have a great thing going over there, the title and escrow industry there, Hoyt. So congrats on kind of all the success you guys have had there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So as mentioned, Barrels of Wisdom, moving on to that on the podcast here. We always start off with everyone's favorite question on the podcast. So I'm just going to ask you, Hoyt, what's the last thing in your search bar?
Oh, the last thing in my search bar.
Yeah.
That's That's great. Yeah, I'd have to pull that up, but probably one of the last things was, believe it or not, well, I'm sure you might be able to believe it, but I've been doing chat. So OpenAI, part of Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are not slowing down. They're continuing. They've elevated. So Chat GPT has been more personalized, to where you go and you can actually pay for an account as an individual. The OpenAI group, they've just opened up a marketplace for AI products that you can actually build, put it into this marketplace. You can have teams of people. So if you look at my search bar, like I said, that's probably that's going to be at the top of the list. Is that it's very, very, very new. The team orientation of OpenAI, and then building these products. It's something we're looking to take more advantage of in our product suite. Again, to graduate Alanna to high school, if not college level, as quick as possible. So yes.
I definitely believe it. Very much sounds right on brand, quite frankly, Hoyt, there from kind of what you're searching for. And just curious, as you were kind of talking about that, kind of a question that came up is, ChatGPT is not a direct competitor for you guys currently, kind of what you're doing, it sounds like. So how would you characterize that relationship between Alanna and ChatGPT? Are they distant cousins, or what does that family tree kind of look like?
Yeah, I love that question so much, because if you were to like lift up the covers and say, okay, Alanna, what AI technology are you guys working to did you build your own AI, brain, that you're plugged the conversations into, which is very, very, it's a very possible scenario to build your own, encapsulated AI model. They call them large language models. And we could actually build something like that. But no, if you look at open the cover or open the hood, if you will, look at the engine, you'd see we're using AI technology from Microsoft. We're using AI technology from IBM. We're using AI technology coming in from OpenAI. So we're using the best of the best out there to do the job that we're looking to get done. Because as we started off before with buckets. So ChatGPT is not a competitor. These are big, large, almost Lego sets is probably the best way to put it. And as individual, we call them system integrators. And that's kind of how I see us, as a system integrator. So we actually are taking these tools that are on the marketplace and these Lego sets, if you will, and putting them together in a very special way to satisfy very specific needs of the customer base that we're interacting with. So ChatGPT is a new Lego set. I'll say it's the Star Wars Lego set. So we're grabbing hold of that set and putting together our version of the Death Star or something.
So you guys are true master builders, right? You guys see the sets, see the bricks, and then you have kind of the knowledge to put them together in the best way to have the best possible solution for what your clients need.
That's exactly right. Because you can't, even if somebody comes and tries to build an Alanna, their solution is going to be very different than our solution, just because you are putting together those blocks on your own, using your own, kind of master builder plan to build what your vision is. And so yes, there's a lot of pieces to put together. But I'm really excited about what OpenAI, the tool sets they put in place. And it's really gonna, we were talking to a customer and saying that our goals for 2024 are to make Alanna smarter. And so what that really means is give her more ability to handle conversations that can be the craziest conversations. And I guarantee you, those conversations are coming across on a daily basis, probably on an hourly basis, as we look at the Alanna chats that are going on. And the more conversations she can have, the better the tool is going to be for our customers. So that's how we see it.
I love it. Absolutely. I mean, and I can't wait to see where you guys go from here. And speaking of kind of the future, kind of talk a little bit there to talk about, what can people do to be part of that, right? What can brands, what can they do right now here at the beginning of 2024 to be maybe, proactive about keeping up with all this AI stuff?
I talk about this often. If I get an opportunity to stand on the stage, I talk about this concept of staying curious. Stay curious is the most important thing you can do. I know we're all busy, and I think it's just one of those best practices to implement in your business is to carve out time for curiosity. And so, however that fits. So to me, there's so much out there. But there's some great newsletters out there as well that are great ways to digest the vast amount of data that's coming out. Is like, there's who knows how many startup companies are popping up on a daily, if not weekly basis. And for the general user like you and I, we don't have time to sit there and research every one of these. So it's good to get plugged into people that do have the time to pay attention to this, and again, to stay curious and to look at, as we started at the beginning of the conversations, this concept of AI being an army of interns. If your business, if you think about the next intern you're going to hire or a set of interns you're going to hire, what are you going to have them do? And a lot of times it's you pull somebody in to do a specific set of tasks through a summer to alleviate the burden on the staff, to give them more bandwidth. Well, AI should be looked at, I think, in a very similar way. It's like, where are you hiring interns? What are you having them do? And then search that area of your business and to see about the solutions that are out there or solutions that are coming to market that could be close, and then start investing time and getting to know those solutions and those people providing those solutions to help, because it's really a two-way street. It's a conversation I have with all of our customers. It's like, what are we not paying attention to that we should? What area of the business do you spend more time in than you really would like to be spending? And we get flooded with people saying, spend so much time over here in this area of the business, and it's just mind-numbing work. And it's thousands of pages of documents that people are going through to get this little bit of information out of. And again, I'm a problem solver, and I say, I see where AI can help out in this area. And then, we put little projects together to kind of prove it out and see what that takes to get that done. Some problems are too large to handle, truth be told. But then other problems are manageable, and that makes sense to invest time to create a solution that could be used literally thousands of times a day.
I love it. So if I heard you correctly, the most important way people can kind of be ready and proactive, curious, learning about it. You mentioned newsletters there. Curious if you can name check any newsletters that you recommend, any books or resources maybe even that you can recommend for our listeners.
Let me follow up with you on a couple of those ideas. Maybe we can put them into the show notes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. I have a whole folder worth of that in my email. And so I think it would make sense to get you that.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll put them in the show notes. We'll put them on the website, and so that people can check them out there for sure. Can't wait to see those, Hoyt. And check them all out there as well. Let's keep talking about the future, right? The future is AI. AI is the future. I think it's almost becoming synonymous a little bit there, right? And so just want to ask you directly if you can predict the future of the job market, if that's going to shift due to the technology. Is this like when the tractor came around and all of a sudden, instead of the whole village plowing the field, you just need one person out on the field and everybody else can start doing other things?
Yeah, I tell you what, the concept, I have a daughter in college, and she interns with me. Hopefully she'll intern again this year. I don't know if she'll outgrow me or not, but if she does, I talk with her, and one of the concepts in college students are not encouraged to leverage AI in what they do. because there's the concept of it could lead to either cheating or plagiarizing or things that basically it's the concept of using your power for good or evil, so to speak. And what I tried to have my daughter do when she comes and works with me is to use that power of AI for good. And so it's to not use it to do your work for you, but is to use it to help you do your work. I think Microsoft has it right. They have a product called Copilot that has been rolling out. I'm not sure if you heard of that product or not.
No,
but
no,
Microsoft's their Copilot, I think, is right on is right on the money, because the concept is AI has been in our life for a decade plus, if not longer. And before we use Google Maps or Apple Maps to get from point A to point B. Well, there's AI that's helping you pick the right path to get there. But we haven't had a lot of control over it, right? It's just kind of Alexa and Siri are there for us to use. GPS and Apple Maps are there for us to use. This concept of now getting AI into really that co-pilot spot for it to actually ride beside you to help you get the most out of whatever you're doing. And that concept, I think, is what we'll see in the next couple of years, if not 2 to 3 years, is a concept of how do we use AI to get our job done more efficiently, more effectively, and give us more time to do other things other than the if you will, the monotonous minutia that we deal with today, whether it be the hundreds of emails that you have walking in. I'm just waiting for that next solution that is in essence the virtual assistant that knows me well enough to actually go through my inbox and only highlight the things I really need to pay attention to instead of spending a lot of other time. So that concept again of that co-pilot AI is where I see us moving into. And another thing I like to say is that if you don't use AI to get your job done, you'll be replaced by somebody who does. And so that is really, I think, the point that we want to really continue to talk about is it's not like should you have a tractor or not. It's like if you want to farm 1,000 acres, you got to have a tractor. Otherwise, the guy that does have a tractor, he's going to outpace you. And that's really what we're talking about here is this revolution that can't be ignored. It's we will have the people that will push back and say, I don't need that. But it's fine to say that. But the point is that, again, the college generation that's coming up, they're leveraging AI and should be even more so in their jobs. But again, it's not to do your job for you. It's to help you do your job better and more effective.
Yeah, no, I love it. That makes so much sense. Kind of almost having that co-pilot with you. I think that's such a great name from Microsoft to kind of come up with there, right? Kind of having a co-pilot next to you there, someone or something, I should say, to kind of support you there. And so is that what you see as the next generation of AI? Or do you foresee the next generation maybe even looking different than that?
I really see that next generation AI being more personalized, and actually being more, again, a personal assistant that knows you. I think that's the concept, is that it'll be able to start gaining knowledge that's more specific to you as an individual. Again, becoming more portable. I think that's if you start looking at Apple or any of the other big companies and what they're focused in on, there's a concept of moving it from a large scale cloud environment down to your personal devices, so that whether you're connected to the internet or not, you still have an AI that's powerful and helpful. So it's taking that robot home with you and having to do your house chores for you.
Love it. Yeah, finally gonna be like the Jetsons a little bit right there to age myself.
Me too. Yeah,
we're gonna actually come true here. Well, I'm really excited, Hoyt. We're gonna move on to the perfect pour, my favorite segment of the podcast, where we talk about creating a wine label for you. So let's get started here. So on the wine label, obviously we have the ingredients, so I'm just curious, your bottle, what would those two key ingredients be for you and alanna.ai, Hoyt?
Yeah, the key ingredients really come back to technology with a human flair, if you will. It's not taking the human aspect out of our customer service. It's a balanced pour, if you will, between customer service and technology. And really that is, I mean, think about that glass, the glass of wine. It's that you want the flavor, you want the complexity, you want that smell to come through with all the notes that wine has. And every title company has their own brand. Every title
Right.
company has their own way to how they relate with their customer base. And again, almost every title company could be a different bottle of wine, and we see ourselves as that ingredient that will help that company take their brand out to the marketplace and continue to create more complexity of that character, if you will, of that glass of wine. Because again, that's that at the end of the day, technology is not going to replace us, but it can help us have a better vacation. It can help us
Yeah.
do less work or pay attention and spend time in the work that we want to be doing. We know that's important to be doing, and not necessarily all the other things that can take us away from that. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, no, I love the two ingredients, right? So I think you summed it up perfectly there with technology, right? And technology is a big word and can even get scary, right? Because when we talk about AI, we're talking about being kind of cold and emotionless and
Right.
just really scary, right? But then bringing back in kind of the human aspect of it and kind of making it unique for each of your clients, for each person that kind of interacts there. I think that's the perfect blend there, and kind of bringing back to wine. That's what you want. You want
Yeah.
something that's fully rounded like that, right? That doesn't disappoint on the front or the back end, but that's kind of filled in all those characteristics. So I really love that. And I think those are two great ingredients, and can't go wrong with them. And I think that's why they're so important to your business.
Yeah, that's probably the most fun part of the alanna.ai offering, is that we actually white label it in a way that gives all of our customers the ability to create a character, and they get to name Alanna whatever they want to. And so there's a lot of different brands out there that are building this character that is a virtual assistant but has this personality. Alanna can tell you jokes. Alanna does have some humor about her, and so that gives her a human feel to so much so to where people actually mistake Alanna for a real human, and they'll actually send gifts like a bottle of wine to one of our customers for the
I
sake
love
that
it.
Alanna was so helpful, and they just want to show their appreciation. So I think they got it right. They got the blend correct by being able to make it feel warm, but it's the technology that really continues to extend that title company's experience, that customer experience that they want to have, which is taking care of people and giving them what they need, and elevating that customer experience so much so to where, again, you get a bottle of wine for a virtual assistant that doesn't really exist, but that office that received the bottle of wine, they enjoyed it very much, is what I hear.
I'm sure that's hilarious. And I was going to say, I mean, that must be the ultimate compliment, right? If you've created something artificial, right? That's what AI is,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, right? Something that's artificial, that's technology that someone mistook to be a real human being. That's, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, that's kudos to you guys there, that you, along with the title company, were able to customize it and personalize to such a
Yeah.
extent that people mistook it for a real human. I mean, that's fantastic.
That again, I take it just like you said. There can't be a better compliment than somebody saying,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I thought Alana was a real person," because she was
Yeah.
super helpful and did exactly what I needed to, and it was super easy to get what I needed to get. So yeah, just love that.
Thanks for sharing that, Hoyt. I think that was a fantastic story to end on. And I can't thank you enough for coming on today, being on the search bar. So also thank you to you. Thank you to all the listeners, the viewers at home for joining us here at the Search Bar. You can connect with Hoyt and me, Eric Ritter, on LinkedIn and follow our journeys. We'll add the links to connect with us directly and all the other things about AI that Hoyt's going to give to us in the show notes and on the website as well. So be sure to check those out. And of course, if you have any SEO or digital marketing questions, feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. As the CEO of Digital Neighbor, you can probably tell I love talking about this topic. I hope we filled your glass with digital wisdom, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Search Bar. Hoyt, thank you so much. It was a true pleasure having you on today.
Thank you so much, Eric. Really appreciate it.
All right, cheers.